Hi everyone, welcome to update 6 for Pantheon eyeshadows. I think this is update 6. I never remember, but yeah, Pantheon eyeshadows. If you don't know what that is, it is a project that was created by Alexi a few years ago, and since then it gained enormous popularity on YouTube as well as other platforms. And the way you do it, or I guess the way I do it, because different people do it differently, is I have a spreadsheet in which I have the names of all of the eyeshadows that I own, and I take a random number generator and I randomly select an eyeshadow from that spreadsheet, and then I hit pen on it, and that's basically it. So yeah. This update might not be the most exciting one because I'm filming it about like 2 weeks earlier than I would usually. So yeah, that's that. But we still have pans, so it's not all boring. So yeah, let's just get into it. As always though, before we get into the eyeshadows, I just wanted to remind you again that the war in Ukraine hasn't ended yet. So if you would like to help, I will list a few organizations in the description box to which you could potentially donate. If you do end up donating, thank you so much. It means the world. This war has been going on way too long, and yeah, any help is very important. So again, if you do end up donating, thank you. But yeah, I guess that is all that I'm going to say about this matter. So let's just talk about the fun stuff. Okay, so as always, I'm going to talk about my current color story from the eyeshadow that's been here the oldest. And as of right now, this eyeshadow comes from this palette, which is Mel Cosmetics Merte. I don't remember exactly when I rolled it in. I want to say maybe 3 months ago, something like that. So it's been here for a bit. But yeah, the eyeshadow that I have from this palette is called Pantheon, and I used it a total of 18 times, and here is what it's looking like today. I hope you can see there's like the teeniest tiniest pen in it. I know it's kind of like a pathetic pen, but it's a pan, so I'm gonna count it as such, which means we will be rolling this eyeshadow out, which is awesome. Here is a swatch of it. It's a very nice kind of off black, if that's a thing. It's a matte eyeshadow. So yeah. I don't know what to say about it. It's an excellent eyeshadow. It's very pigmented, very good quality. Yeah, it's a joy to work with, and I'm glad to be rolling it out because it's been here for a bit, or for quite some time I guess, and it's nice to have something new in its place. If you remember, if you have seen my previous update, last update I had 4 shades rolling out, and this was the only shade in my whole color story that remained out of 5, because I usually work on 5 eyeshadows. So yeah, I don't know what else to say, so let's just move on to the next eyeshadow. So the next eyeshadow I will be talking about was rolled in last update, as all the ones that will follow it, because as I mentioned just a moment ago, I had pretty much all new eyeshadow selection last update because I hit pan on 4 eyeshadows. So yeah, all this blabbering aside, the eyeshadow I'll be talking about comes from this wonderful palette, which is Lunar Beauty Moonspell, and the shade that I have from this palette is called Fiona. And here is, how do I show it to you? Here is what Fiona looks like today. I hope you can see there is a bit of a pan in it. Oh, I mean, not a pan, a dip, but it's not particularly impressive. But yeah, that's that. I guess here's what it looks like switched out. It's like your typical teal, dark teal shadow with very warm brown base. This is a satin shade. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you how many times I used it. I used it 4 times, so it's not surprising I didn't hit pan on it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's a good quality shadow. I mean, it's a satin, so it's not like wow. I mean, unless of course you like satins. I'm kind of picky with my satins. I usually like them when they are like dark neutral browns, but not so much with colorful shades. So but I still like this shadow. Kind of like one of the looks with it that I really liked that I did was just like smudging it around the eye, and it looked pretty nice, kind of like a soft colorful look. So yeah, I'm more than anything, I'm very happy to have this palette out because because it's a great palette, and I haven't used it in a while, so it's a great opportunity for me to pull it out. So yeah, this will be staying in, and let's just talk about eyeshadow number 3. So the next eyeshadow on my list comes from another pretty cool palette, which is Venus Immortalis by Lime Crime. And the shade from this palette that I rolled in is called Echo. I used it also 4 times, and here is what it's looking like today. Also, it has kind of like a hint of a dip in it, but that's about it. Yeah. I expect it to take quite a while for me to hit pan on, because I've hit pan on Lime Crime shades in the past, and it took me like, let me check. It took me 30 uses on one of them, so, and I currently have only 4. So yeah, this might stay here for a while, but I'm not complaining for now because I really like this palette. I think it's very pretty, and this particular shade is very gorgeous. Here's a swatch of it. It's like a very nice taupey shimmer. Very pretty. So yeah, not much to complain about here. I don't know what else to say. It's great shadow, and I'm very much enjoying using it, although I used it only 4 times. But that's how it is, I guess. So without dwelling too much on it, let's just talk about the next eyeshadow. So the penultimate eyeshadow in my current color story comes from this palette, which is Odin's Eye times Judy Red Dragon. And the shade that I've rolled in from this palette is called Jade. I used Jade a total of 5 times, and here is what it's looking like today. Hope you can see it. There's no pan in it, but there is a dip starting to form, but not much. Nothing to write home about at this very moment. So yeah, here is what it looks like switched out. It's a very pretty, kind of like murky chartreuse, kind of. Yeah, it's a matte, as you can tell. A great eyeshadow, just as the rest of this palette. So I don't have much to complain about, except for the fact that if you've seen my previous updates, this eyeshadow, I've been working on it on this shade. a few months, and I rolled it out last update, and then I immediately rolled this palette back in with a different shade, so that was interesting. Yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to add to my discussion of the shades, so let's just talk about the very last eyeshadow, and then we will be doing the fun part of this video, which is rolling in new shades. So the last eyeshadow in my current lineup comes from my Focus palette, which is Very YSL palette or something like that. It's very old, as you can tell by its packaging that's falling apart. Yeah, this palette has no names, but the eyeshadow that I rolled in from it last update, yeah, is the eyeshadow number 2. I used it a total of 10 times, and here's what it's looking like today. Hopefully you can see there is a pen in it. Also not the biggest one, but it's a pen, so I actually had pen on it in 8 uses, but I then used it 2 extra times just because. I think it's a great eyeshadow. I'm actually wearing it right now in my brows. So yeah, it's pretty, what's the word? Useful, I guess, because I can use it not just on my eyes, but also in my brows. So yeah, I very much enjoyed using it, and as you can tell by the number of uses, it took me way less than this shadow, which I had to use 16 times, but it's also a bit different in formula. This one is way softer, and this one is extremely hard pressed. But yeah, oh, I forgot to show you the swatch of it. Here's what it looks like. It's kind of like a weird, it's not exactly a matte, but it's also not a satin. It's like this weird middle ground shadow, and it's kind of purpley taupe, I would say. It's very nice. I do like it quite a lot. Yeah, I think that is all I'm going to say. But yeah, we will be rolling in a new eyeshadow from this palette, and we only have 2 left, so there's not much to choose from. But either way, let's just, yeah, get into the rolling in part of this video so we can see which one I do get. Okay, I have my pretty random map pulled up. My minimum is 1 and my maximum is 1319. Yeah, so we will be rolling in 1 shade right now, and then I will change my maximum to 2, and we will roll in a new shade from my Focus palette. So let's see what is going to be our shade from the general spreadsheet. 923. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. So let's just change maximum to 2, and from our, oh my god, why I keep doing this? Oh, again, I need to clear my history. That's so weird. I only rolled in once. Okay. The history is cleared, and our new Focus palette shade is the shade number 1. Ugh. I'm not very excited about this one, but let me just pick out the 923, I think it was, eyeshadow, and I'll see if it's eligible to be rolled in, which means it has no pen in it, and if it doesn't, I will show you both, but I guess you already know what the YSL shade looks like. But yeah, never mind. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back with my 1 new palette or 2 new shades, and the eyeshadow that is under number 923, yes, 923 in my spreadsheet, is a shade from another Odin's Eye palette. This time it's the Mini Word eyeshadow palette, and the shade that I rolled in from this palette is called Past. I don't remember exactly which one it is, but I have a feeling it's this very pretty forest green shimmer, but let's just see. Oh no, it's not, but it's close to it. It's the shade. It's kind of like a very deep eggplant matte, I want to say. It's very nice quality, but let me just show you the YSL shade, which you might have already seen, but the YSL shade that I rolled in looks like this. So we have a bit of a, well, they're not exactly the same, but they're very similar. This one is more purpley and this one is more plummy. So I guess there is a difference, but yeah. Not the best combination of colors to be rolling in, but alas, yeah. Let me just swatch out my new color story and I'll show you it, and I guess we will talk a bit about it and then we will move on to the goals. Yeah. Okay, so I'm back. I swatched everything out and here's what our new color story is looking like. Not that different from the old one, but yeah, these are actually pretty different, so I guess it's not that big of a deal that they rolled in at the same time. But yeah, it is what it is. Let me just remind you again what each of these shades are. So here at the top we have Fiona from Lunar Beauty Moonspell. Right below it is, what are you called? Echo from Venus Immortalis by Lime Crime. Then we have Jade from Red Dragon by Odin's Eye and Judy. Then we have Past from Oud palette by, again, Odin's Eye. And right below it is YSL, very YSL eyeshadow, this first one in the palette. It's still a pretty cohesive color story and maybe even a little bit more fun than this. The combination of the chartreusey green and this kind of eggplanty shade reminds me of It's Freaking Bats by Shroud and Betty Bean. So that's something. And I guess there's also a shade similar to this in that palette. So interesting. I was hoping for some brightness, but I guess we're having a gloomy, spooky summer this year, and I don't mind it. That's great. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about our new additions to the color story, so let me just do some math and calculate everything, and I'll tell you about my progress on my yearly goal, and I'll share with you what I think will be my next ban for the next update. Okay, so as always, I will begin with my yearly goal, which is to reach the number 100 in my pen numbers. You know what I mean. And currently, if I counted everything correctly, I have 78 pens in my collection. So we have 22 more, which is quite a bit, and who knows if I'll be able to get there, but we'll see. Yeah, that's it for that. So let's just talk about my goals for the next month. I think the shade that I'm most likely to hit pan on next month, or have a pan by next month, is Jade, because the other shade that I panned from that palette took me like, how many uses? Let me check so I'm saying the right number. It took me, where is it? 16 times. So that means I need to use Jade 11 more times, which I think is pretty reasonable. So my bets are on Jade. All the rest I'm kind of not sure about. Maybe I might hit pan on Fiona, because it might also take me at around the same amount of uses as Jade. These three though I have concerns for, especially Echo and the YSL shade. The YSL shade, when I try to swatch it, it's basically like rock hard. It's just so hard pressed. I don't think, no, I have another shade that's like extremely hard pressed, where if you try to use it, it's like nothing comes out, so you need to like scrape off product off of it to use it. This one is not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. So it might take me a while to hit pan on that one, but I'm not in a rush just yet. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So let's just wrap up this video. Alright, you guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for taking a moment of your time to spend it with me. It's always great to have you here and to read your comments and everything. Yeah, so we didn't have the best update this time, but also I'm suspecting the next month's update might not be that great, but I also might have more time to work on those shades, because I'm filming this update earlier than I usually do. So maybe we'll have a nice update, who knows. But yeah, all this blabbering aside, again, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. But other than that, I hope you're doing well, and yeah, bye.